It's taken almost 3 weeks of this illegal war upon Iranians by Israel and the United States. And I'm focusing on Iran because that's where the economic impact is happening. So without getting too much into the weeds, the big themes are that oil prices are still highly elevated. And as we know, the price of oil then permeates into prices for almost everything in the world. And now the United States is starting to feel the price creeping up, and you can pass any gas station, you can see the price of diesel, etc., cranking up. So there is that, and it will be another maybe 2 to 3 weeks that we see it showing up in all other products. The stock market is down again, and I think it has already erased, the S&P has already erased any of the gains that it had made. And so I was seeing somewhere that the markets are now in correction territory, which is usually euphemism for we're in deep shit, folks. And no matter how much there was this magical thinking going on Wall Street, I think they finally cottoned on to the fact that listening to all the bullshit coming out of the mouths of Trump and Secretary Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, a multi-millionaire, a very, very wealthy man who lives in a pink house and talks about people owning 12 houses as a regular thing and has no clue what ordinary people deal with on an everyday basis. He mouthed off the other day that they are going to unsanction Iranian oil that's on the water. What that means, and he had to quickly say, no, it doesn't mean that Iran is going to earn the income from that. It means that we will only release that oil into the market so that the prices fall. Complete, utter nonsense. It did not move the market one jot. So what's moving the market now is the reality they are seeing. They are no longer going to be gaslit. They're not going to listen to the don't believe your lying eyes and don't believe your lying ears. They can see that Iran is incapacitating production in the Gulf countries, and Qatar is now saying that their production level is down by 25% and they have billions of dollars worth of losses. Kuwait is now saying that it has suffered $20 billion worth of losses. Iraq has declared force majeure on international oil company facilities. So it is a complete disaster. It is a calamity. And again, without going into all the weeds, today we had the equity markets and the bond market, falling together, which is not a good thing. All sorts of indications that there is no flight to safety. Safety might just be cash. So I don't know what to say except that they have lit a match. The arsonists were never going to be the firefighters. The arsonists were going to be the arsonists. And they want someone else to play firefighter. And for the most part, except for now, slimy Starmer, no other European country wants to get involved in this. The GCC countries are now just flailing about, screaming fire, 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 literally, but they aren't getting much love from Uncle Donald. Meanwhile, It's very hard to tell what is a false flag attack, what is a real attack, which is creating even more uncertainty in the market. And again, it is quite likely that the GCC countries are telling Trump to keep at it and to destroy Iran, because whatever is left is going to be very angry and very vicious once the US goes away. Pakistan is telling us that the joint memoranda or joint statement that was issued by foreign ministers in Riyadh, Pakistan had played a big role in tamping down the very, very aggressive anti-Iran portions of it, and had really asked their counterparts to tone it down, and had succeeded to tone it down. If that was toned down, then I just don't know, because there was very little condemnation of the attack upon Iran by the United States and by Israel. It was absolutely unprovoked attack. GCC countries refuse to acknowledge that. GCC countries refuse to acknowledge the death and destruction and the mass murder that is happening in Iran. So that is a problem. The GCC countries continue to allow their territory to be used to launch attacks on Iran. That is a problem. So the markets are deeply unhappy. And as mentioned before, there is a huge stress on the delivery and availability of fertilizer. And world over, that is becoming a very panicky situation. And according to the FAO, economist of FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, the hardest hit are going to be Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. Now, planting season starts sometime in June. However, they need to be securing the supplies of fertilizer now. So, panic buttons are being pushed all over the world. I mean, petrochemicals are important for the fertilizer as well. So there's just everything is connected to everything else. And we've already seen this terrible movie during the pandemic when supply chains were hugely stressed. And this is a completely avoidable situation. America, led by Netanyahu, have literally lit the world on fire. If they think that this is some sort of scheme to become popular and make friends, boy, oh boy, have they miscalculated. Because when the world is not able to produce food for its populations, oh my goodness, that is going to be such an utter calamity. So we are in, like I said, a fire that is now spreading throughout the world and is impacting the world. And the UK jumping in with both feet today certainly helps nobody. It is really bizarre why Keir Starmer would actually make such a stupid move. Except, again, that he is under some sort of pressure, not just from Israel, but also from the GCC countries. Not just from Netanyahu and Trump, who he may be able to finagle out of with Trump, but Netanyahu and Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar. Just remember how much investment Qatar has in the UK. How much of London properties and investment Saudi Arabia has. How much investment the UAE has. So these things matter. This level of pressure matters. But again, whose interests is he doing this for? On whose behalf? Because the people of the United Kingdom are against this. Markets all over the world are falling. Inflation is a huge, huge issue. Countries are trying to take all sorts of remedial actions to get ahead of this, but there's some things you just can't get ahead of. Food production, for instance, that is going to be a very significant choke point. If fertilizer cannot move, that is going to be a huge worldwide calamity. And that is what is coming.